Hi, I'm Amy Cimarelli, even though you already know my last name. I'm here today on Things We Don't Talk About, and I'm going to share my experience of growing up with Turner syndrome and how that all made me feel and the whole process. So I was first diagnosed at like the age of 9. Took them like 4 years to figure out what was going on. I made a whole video about this on our channel, so you can pop on over there and watch it. It will be down below. I honestly was trying to think about when I first got diagnosed and that kind of stuff. I don't remember. I think it was very traumatic because I don't have any memories of it. Like I have memories of like going to the doctor to take tests and like hearing tests and all these tests and tests and tests. But I don't remember what it was like. I have no recollection of the moment. I remember like when I got diagnosed and I had to start taking growth hormones. I think I can remember being at the doctor and like my mom picking out the prescription and stuff, and I hated it because I didn't like needles at all at the time. Now I'm fine with them, but I had to get like a shot every night. I don't know if any of you have ever been on growth hormones, but it's basically this little pen. You put a little needle on the end. It's like this tiny little needle, and then you crank it out, and then you like stick it in your leg. And at first, obviously, I'm 9 years old, so I'm not going to be wielding needles into myself. So my mom had to do it at first, which was honestly, I'm guessing, traumatizing for her. I was scared. I was terrified. So I would have like a teddy bear, I think, or like a pillow. I'd have a pillow. I think I remember like like kind of yelling into the pillow, but it was like really scary. I don't even remember the first time I did it myself, but by the time I was about 11, I could do it by myself, and I would just like stick by my leg and I'd be like, Ch-. It was a very tough adjustment to be like, ugh, I hate needles, and then, oh, wow, now I have to get a shot every day. I don't have a lot of the physical challenges that it can present, so I was very like blessed in that part. So it was way harder to come to terms with the mental aspect of like having this thing that would make me different than other people. I already hated being different, but this made me even more different, and it was so hard to be like okay with that because I didn't like being so much shorter than my sisters. I didn't like looking different from them. I really do remember asking myself like, okay, if God makes things good and if God made everything, did he make me with this like disease, this thing that like hurts people? Like, how does that all work? And it took me a while to kind of come to terms with it. I love to live in my head and to live in comparison, to figure out where I should be instead of being able to be like, this is where I am and this is where I want to go. I always felt like I needed to look at other people to tell me where I should go and what I should do. So when I was growing up, a few years after I was diagnosed, maybe I was 11 or 12-ish, I actually met another girl with Turner syndrome, which is actually really rare to meet another girl because it's only 1 in 2,000-ish. I hadn't really met any other people with it besides this one girl until about 2 years ago in 2017 when I was invited to speak at the National Turner Syndrome Conference. And this really brought up a lot of interesting feelings in me. I really never dealt at all with like the emotional aspect of having it and how it made me feel about myself. So going there and confronting it and like seeing all these other girls and being like, oh, I have to accept this about myself because like they have it too. They made it more real to me, which was extremely hard, and I hadn't really thought about it since I was like a teenager. So I feel like I got like triggered back into being like myself as a bratty teenager. I just did not really know what to do, what to feel. I don't fit in fully in the normal world, like genetically, I guess you would say. But then I also have such like a mild case. I have a mosaic case, so I don't even really fit in with all these other girls who have it. It's a very hard feeling to feel like you're walking the line between like affected and not affected. They have a lot more challenges than I did, and I felt kind of guilty about that, but also kind of like relieved and guilty for feeling relieved, you know? I really did end up liking the people, but it was a very hard experience to be confronted with that and to have it made real for me when I tried to push it away my whole life and just be like, oh, it doesn't exist. Well, guess what? It did exist, and running from things never makes them go away. The biggest thing I would say is that I don't need to find my worth in other things, in external factors. It's already there. I don't have to earn it, even though that's very hard to stop trying to earn it. And it's something that it's like, oh, it's too easy. Well, it's just how it is. It doesn't have to be easy. It doesn't have to be hard. That everything will work out, and it's okay to have pain and to struggle, and you don't have to be okay. And you're secure in God, and he never lies, and he will never leave. you kind of just have to shape up to yourself. You gotta stop being rude to yourself, and you have to just look at yourself and just say, this is how it is. Anything different from that you can't actually change. And it's okay that that's how it is. If you have a certain thing about your body appearance that you don't like, or about your personality that you don't like, look at it from a different way. Like, you might need to reframe it. I was at this retreat and they had this quote, and it was saying that if you refuse to accept a situation or something that's happening or something about yourself, you're not living in reality. It really helped me, that sentiment, to accept myself looking back, just saying like, this is how it is, and I'm going to make my peace with it. Because if you don't make peace with your core and with who you are and your identity, you can change every single thing externally and you will never be happy. You will never have a sense of peace. You can never outrun yourself. You are the only person, the only thing that you are going to be with forever. So it's very prudent to make your peace with yourself, because you will never outrun yourself. And honestly, why would you want to? You are great as you are. I have a lot more compassion for myself now than I used to, which is still a small amount of compassion, but compared to 0, anything is a lot, you know? I'm working on compassion towards myself, but I'd say that now I view myself as more of like who I am. Before, I was viewing myself through the lens of all of these lies and all of these negative opinions about myself. Now I'm learning to view myself from a place of real worth and real value. I have stopped trying to find it in other things, and when I catch myself trying to find it in other things, I've learned how to get to the root of that and bring it back to myself and my actual value, of just value that was ordained by God. Because also at that retreat that I was at, the priest, I think he said, like, when God looks at you, he sees a person worth dying for. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I am a person worth dying for to God. Like, I am so valuable and I didn't have to do anything. I just am. That's how I'd say I view myself now. I'm working on the compassion part, but I'm starting to see myself from a true place of value and worth and respect in this house.
I feel like everything in my life kind of made me feel different from my friends. I have 10 siblings. I was homeschooled. It's just, my life was very different. Also being very Catholic, that was like a big part of feeling different than people. And I definitely felt like in my friend group, they all were like, went to the same school and they had all these school activities. And I remember like seeing pictures or something on social media where they would all be hanging out and I like wasn't invited to it. And that was really hard on me, because I was just thinking like, if I went to school with them and I was normal, then I would have been invited to that.
The most left out that I ever felt in my life was when like all my friends were at college at the same time, and I lived in LA where none of them lived anyway, but they were all gone now and they weren't really like reaching out to me or anything because they were caught up in their new friends and stuff, and I felt so alone. And I think I was 18.
A really big time where I felt left out was actually when I was a kid, and Lauren, who is 2 years older than me, she would hang out with my older brother Alex, our older brother Alex, and then his friend, and they were all a lot older than me, and I wanted to fit in with them, and I was a lot younger than them, and that was kind of like a trend that went on up until like a couple years ago, honestly, like where I just wanted to be more like Lauren, or I wanted to be in her like circle or whatever, and sometimes it didn't work out that way because she was older than me, and that usually caused me to get down on myself, like, oh, there must be something wrong with me because I'm not like her, or because I don't fit in, or I'm not old enough.
It's weird because this actually isn't that different, because a lot of people are like this, but being really quiet make me feel very like isolated and left out throughout my life, even though like, yeah, there's a lot of people out there that are like introverts and quiet. Just like, it doesn't really seem like that from my perspective, because like I'm just living my life and I just see all these people that are just doing all this small talk and like all this camaraderie. I don't know, and I'm just like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to like be this fun guy, well, girl, that is so interesting and exciting, and especially in groups, like it's hard to like feel like anyone notices that I'm there.
I think with my personality, I always felt pretty different because of the way that I think. I just felt like I couldn't relate to a lot of girls. So I was like, facts, logic, blah, blah, blah. And it didn't seem to be the way that most people around me were thinking, especially like Catherine and my mom. They were like nothing like that. So I was like, am I weird? And I just felt like I was so aggressive and in charge and all these different things that you don't normally expect from a woman, you know? So it seemed like there was something wrong with me, like I was supposed to be this different personality, but I was like, I can't change this. Like I can try, but I can't change it. So growing up, I definitely felt like there was something wrong with me because my personality just felt so different.
Growing up, I think things definitely change a lot. You realize that school is such a temporary part of your life, and being homeschooled or being in like a really different type of family, that is a huge part of who you are, and it does shape you. And I think when you get older, you start to realize that those things that make you different make you unique, and that's really powerful and really cool. So I think as I got older, the problem kind of fixed itself because I realized like I really like being different and I like having these unique things about me. Everyone has things that make them unique, and rather than like wishing it was different, I learned to embrace it, and now I love it now that I'm older. So I think it just took time to change naturally.
I think something I wanted to do in the situation of comparing myself to my sister and feeling left out and everything was fade into the background or change myself and all that. So what I had to do was consciously go against that and really try and put myself out there and be who I am and show people that, and then surround myself with people who really liked that. And because of that, then I didn't need to be in anyone's friend group, or I didn't need to fit in with anyone. You'll see in my segment that this took me a long time to get here, but I didn't need to do that because I just learned to accept myself little by little.
Well, the reason that my friends went to college and I didn't was I went a little earlier, and then I was working in my job, so I got through it by reminding myself, they're going to college to get a job. I already have a job, so it's like skipping a step. That's a movie quote. But it was still really lonely, and I wrote a lot of songs about it and recorded, and I cried a lot. I told my one friend, like, I feel like you abandoned me, blah, blah, and we had a really good talk, and we became closer. And I journaled a lot and just tried to get my feelings out, and really I just had to like wait it out. And then eventually they were all done with college and I could see them again.
I had to learn how to see what I saw as weaknesses as strengths. It really does just depend on how you look at things. They could be negative or positive depending on how you look at them. And just realizing that like I don't have to be anything else other than myself. And people aren't like sitting there thinking like, oh my gosh, she doesn't say anything, or like, oh, she's so weird. Like no one's actually thinking that. And I can just be myself, speak up if I want to, but also if I don't feel like talking, like there's nothing wrong with that, and just accepting that as part of who I am and not trying to like change that.
You guys know I love the personality type, so learning about like the Enneagram and Myers-Briggs, that is one thing that helped so much, because I was like, oh my gosh, these are totally me, and it's not like there's something wrong with me, this is just my personality. Oh my gosh, I felt like finally there wasn't something wrong with me, it was okay to be that. And the other thing was, like I think what Lauren was saying, realizing that the things that I didn't like about me were actually things that were huge advantages. So because of the way I thought, I was able to accomplish so many things and have all these great, incredible like career things happen. And in my life, I'm able to like know how to make something happen. If I want to make it happen, I can actually do that. I'm really empowered because of those things. And also because of the way that I think, I'm able to make a lot of really great decisions because I'm able to look at all the information instead of just like going off my feelings or whatever. So realizing that, I was like, wow, this is actually a gift. Like I'm able to make my life better because of this thing that I think makes me so different.
Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Things We Don't Talk About. Don't forget to watch the rest of the series.
You're not broken, you're not wrong. You are standing, you are strong. And even when you start to fall, you will rise and carry on. You are strong.
The next one is, what was one of the hardest parts?
Spider.
Did it get off me?
God, don't fear the spider. It's not gonna hurt you. I do remember like That scared
I'm
me.
sorry. I saw I was looking down.
Oh.
No, that's okay. But I really do wish that I could remember it. So maybe I'll try to remember it one of these days. What?
Okay.
I have no brain, okay? Gotta stop judging me.
Okay.
I wasn't even running. I was lightly
I was like, where's the
jogging.
analogy?
Wait, why can I not remember the question anymore?
What's your advice